But one of the reasons why I'm so excited this evening is because I talk about healing arts and diversity, and once in a while I'll have a guest or a conversation that really embodies all of those topics. And I have Lewis, who's about to join us right now, and we're going to premiere before he comes on for an interview. We're going to, this is like a huge event. We're going to premiere his new single, Bleed, from That New Violence. And I'm just gonna go straight to the art, and then we're gonna talk about it there, and then bring Lewis onto the show. But I think his art speaks for himself, but also Lewis is also extremely accomplished as a poet, a writer, a beat maker, an MC, an educator, award-winning, self-describable dork. Lewis is addressing what the media wants you to forget. He has taught across schools and also attended various schools at different points in his life. Lewis is addressing these really tough issues, and That New Violence is his third album. Tonight, Lewis will be premiering Bleed for the first time, which I'm going to come and cue up for you guys. And it's a very intense look into the state of media, and also combining genres in a new way, in an honest way, in a way that might make you feel uncomfortable or completely liberated. That is up to you, and that is your problem, because this is pure art, pure truth. And I'm really excited to bring up this video. So give me a second to cue this up. Let's do a little like Apple F for full screen effects. And Lewis also, he's premiering the single, but also created a clip just for Café con Gas. So I'm really excited. So bear with me just for a moment, make sure the audio levels are set. And this is the premiere of Bleed, followed by an in-studio interview with the man himself. So I hope you guys enjoy it. Sit back, relax, and let yourself be moved. Ooh. Not just yet, hold on. A little like Pete, there we go. All right, let's bring down the level a little bit. Thanks for tuning in. This is live community television if you can't see behind me, so thanks for bearing with me. So yeah, here we go.
Old spitter, straight gold shitter. Exercise demons means you, nigga. You crawl through a sewer just to get to a river. There's actually a toilet to get a cup of water. Consumed with the thirst and quenchable, I don't support them. So you're so for trips, so this rhyme is post-mortem. A couple of good niggas tried to get me to join them, make my blackness agreeable, but that's a tall order. I'm a nigga, my music is loud, my language ain't spell checked. I'm expected to self-edit my existence, proofread my blackness. First draft, second draft. Truthfully, the fact is my skin's ink is permanent. Nah, there ain't no subtle way to state this, but being in black skin is a wall with yourself deemed invisible. Internal bleeding's typical. You don't get no band-aids, walk that shit off and bleed. Let it leak down beneath the concrete where our ancestors rest. They told me to lighten up. That's just impossible. Look at my skin tone, nigga. It's only getting darker, so the hell with your advice. Yo, I'm done being polite. To these new blacks with the famous racism apologists, host niggas kiss my ass. Blackness gonna blow like that to tumble a nigga. Oh, does that offend you? To write a blog about it, rent the basement like I give a shit. These are all your white friends, but announcing other niggas like you ain't one of us. Like your Ivy League degree gives you to write the shit. My niggas content with the GED. Shame us for being poor, call us lazy and entitled. Won't say any of this shit to our faces. You divide black people, then preach togetherness, antagonize your own niggas and reap the benefits. So nah, I'm not gonna open up so bold and bad shit and track all of this shit you've been talking, maybe even black up. Post that to Tumblr, nigga.
We interrupt our program to bring you this important message.
America's the soil, hate is the seed. Corpses are the only things that grow from these trees. And if my validation as a man is what you need, I'll stab myself repeatedly so you can watch me bleed. America's the soil, hate is the seed. Corpses are the only things that grow from these trees. And if my validation as a man is what you need, I'll stab myself repeatedly so you can watch me bleed. America's the soil, hate is the seed. Corpses are the only things that grows in these trees. And if my validation as a man is what you need, I'll stab myself repeatedly so you can watch me bleed.
Okay, world, that was Bleed from That New Violence by Louis M. I'm just going to give it a round of applause as I welcome him behind the desk. Please at home on your studio, give a big, warm round of applause. Send good vibes to Cambridge and welcome Louis M to the studio. So, thank you. Thank you. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, please have a seat.
I shall.
So how many times have I played a video, but now we have the artist here live to speak about his work and his life. Louis, that was really incredible.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming onto the show. I was looking at, where do you want to start? I have a bunch of quotes from your song that moved me, and I'm sitting here as I'm listening to this. Louis and I got a chance to sit down with each other.
Yeah.
And I want the audience to really. You say America is the soil, hate is the seed. I'll stab myself repetitively as you watch me bleed. What's going on here for you?
Well, with that particular line, so the whole sort of conceptual basis of the song is this self-criticism that the Black community experiences within itself.
Yeah.
You have people who are put on somewhat of a pedestal, like Bill Cosby, until recently,
right?
Or or Al Sharpton, or these guys who have always been like the faces and the voices of these movements, criticizing the new generation and how they choose to go about these movements. There's a lot of respectability politics that happen when you talk about things like Black Lives Matter, and in context of everything that's been going on. So. America's the soil, hate is the seed is more talking about this sort of mentality that's put into a lot of Black people in this country, that you have to dress a certain way, look a certain way, talk a certain way in order to be respected by the general populace.
Right.
And that hate grows into yourself trying to prove that you're a person,
Right.
that you're not just 3/5, you're a person.
Yeah.
But that's a pipe dream,
Yeah.
And I think I used that sort of analogy to talk about where that point of view comes from.
So this is your third album. What has been the inspiration? Congratulations,
Thank
first
you.
of all. That's huge. I did read in your bio, and I want to share with the audience that you've been performing and writing since the age of 11. So you've been on this journey for a while.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I started writing poetry when I was 11 years old. The first poem I ever wrote was actually when I was feeling really low, was suicidal at the time. So this poem was if you read it today, it would sound like a suicide note.
Wow.
And maybe it was, but it was a form of expression. Meanwhile, at the same time, I was also doing public speaking at my church. They used to have this thing called Youth Sundays, where they'd let kids go up and preach a sermon, and I did.
Yeah.
The pastor was so impressed that he decided to stick me in front of an audience of hundreds of people and preach a message, and it was crazy. And that was the first time I experienced that feeling of telling your own personal truth, even if it's even if it was a sermon at the time.
Yeah.
I was I got high off of that and I needed more.
That's incredible.
And that's how I discovered Poetry Slam later.
That's
on.
incredible.
Yeah.
And you're also I also wanted to give you an opportunity. You're also part of an incredible group of poets.
Yes.
As well.
Flatline Poetry.
Okay.
And it's 4 of us. Myself, Guillermo, Alyssa, and Kaylee.
Okay. Shout out to Flatline Poetry.
Yeah, shout out Flatline. Hey guys, if you're watching.
You guys are great.
And we're just a group of people who write together, perform together, teach together. We did TEDx talk back in January.
Okay.
Really, we try and bring artistry to wherever we go, whether that be through workshops or performances or hosting open mics. When it's the 4 of us together and we collaborate, it's magic,
That's incredible.
And also it's just an excuse for us to be friends even after we graduate. So there's that
Awesome.
too.
Awesome. That's really incredible. I wanted to know just it's interesting because you have that new violence, and there's certain lyrics that sound, I mean, just from your story right now, poetry began as a very intimate moment, writing to yourself or writing this very intense note. And you speak a lot in this song about people telling you to lighten up, being invisible, all of these moments, and you know, the images that you use are such strong images against violence against Black men. How has violence affected your life, and how have you?
Like it's been a rough like past year.
Yeah.
With everything that's been happening, and you know, I grew up with a particular self-hate, you know, because obviously I'm dark skinned, as you can tell, everybody. And you know, I always just had this thing about being the darkest one in my family, usually being the darkest person in the room, and just not valuing my skin like at all.
Wow.
And thinking about that and all the things that that people from a different generation or people from a different class might say to people in a lower class to sort of, you know, help them get respected, you know?
Yeah.
Like when writing this song, I thought about the father who basically hid his children away from rap music, from basketball, from everything, basically so that his kids can be respected in the eyes of white people. So that, you know, things like Mike Brown or Trayvon Martin won't happen to him.
Right.
You know? And I think this idea that like putting on like a suit and tie is suddenly going to get you respected. All of a sudden, rinsing your language of, you know, the N-word or other curse words is suddenly going to stop cops from stopping you, you know? Like there are, I'm sure, Black CEOs who get stopped by police all the time when they drive in their own in their own upper class neighborhoods that they live in.
Yeah.
I don't think that is the problem. I don't think, you know, lightening up is the problem. I think it's a toxic society that devalues Blackness, and it's not our problem. You know, it's not like I can't. It's not my problem because I can't change this. You know, so. Yeah.
You give such an incredible. It's your words are a gift, and it's something I was looking through the next like the new violence that new violence website, and there was something really interesting, and you said you say the revolution was televised and then it got canceled by a network, and there's a lot in between the lines that I read. That is, it's meant to have a long-lasting effect. So as we wrap out tonight's episode, we have about 2.5 minutes left.
Okay.
I would really love for you to share with the audience, and I would love to know what effect do you have to intend to have on people with this particular body of work? Because what you're doing is super avant-garde, combining all these mediums together and just speaking from your life. It's raw. It's true. It's beautiful.
Thank you. Well, the long-lasting effects I see for that new violence, I hope, is to cause a more honest conversation about the sort of cultural narrative around Blackness and around violence against Black bodies, or, you know, honestly, over, you know, bodies that aren't, you know, A, male, B, heterosexual, and C, white. Because I think this affects different groups, and I think the more we're willing to honestly talk about these situations, I think the closer we can get to having a better society and finding a way to stop these things from happening. But, you know, the whole conceptual basis of that new violence is the sort of cultural reset that we go through. Like Mike Brown, oh my God, that's sad, and then we forgot about it. And then Eric Garner, oh my God, that's sad, and then we forgot about it. And then, you know, Walter Scott, oh my God, that's sad, and then we then we forget about it. You know, I had to look up Walter Scott's name before coming here. You know, there is like this like automatic reset button that and we act shocked every time these things happen. You know, so that's kind of that's what I hope is a long-lasting effect, is sort of making that more honest dialogue happen.
I like that. And I feel so fortunate that you came onto Café con Gas to have some of that dialogue, because even from the short, I wish the show would go longer. We could sit and talk to Louis.
Okay.
We're wrapping it up, but I hope that, I hope that everyone takes away that honest dialogue. And I think what you're doing is, we need that discourse and audience in multiple platforms. So it's so awesome that you came to show us how you fuse those platforms together.
And thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
I was honored to come here.
Absolutely. Yeah. And where can we help support you and find you? Should we direct people over to Facebook, or where can we stay tuned to your career in life?
My Facebook page is facebook.com/Louis Morris Poetry.
Okay.
My